All right. Thank you everyone for being here. Before we start, we'd like to invite you to adopt the following protocols for the benefit of everyone in attendance. You are encouraged to use earphones or headsets while speaking during the session for improved audio experience for our audience. Now, by default, all participants except for the hosting team and the facilitator, the Toastmaster of the session and or speaker will be muted. We'd like to provide as noise-free an environment as possible. Having said that, we count on your discipline to keep yourself muted when you're not speaking. We'd also like to see you during the session. That means we encourage you to have your videos on. You can do that by clicking on the video button at the bottom of your Zoom window. We also would like to inform you that this session is being recorded for educational purpose only. One more thing, after the session, we will have an after party. If you want to stay on and discover what it is and what's going to happen there, because it's a surprise, I'm going to be your host. You're welcome to stay on. And here's the fun part. The after party can go until longer than a normal club session. So watch out for that. On this note, I'm going to hand over to our presiding officer, Toastmaster Sharif Mangrali, who is the current immediate past president of Plateau Toastmasters. Toastmaster Sharif, over to you, sir.
So good evening, Toastmasters and honored guests. Welcome to this very first joint meeting of Plateau and Portis Toastmasters Club. And thank you for coming along to tonight's Toastmasters meeting. First, apologies from our president, Vian Kuj, who has not been able to make it this night. And I'm replacing him. I'm Sharif Mangrali, the IPP of Plateau Toastmasters Club. And as a presiding officer, and without any further ado, I would like to declare the meeting open. First, I request any member to introduce his or her guest. I know we have many guests tonight. So please, let's start from the guests from Portis. Please, anyone who has any guest, please introduce him or her.
Mr. Toastmaster, I'd like you to be aware of one thing. We may have a lot of guests and we may go over time with the guest. So if the guest can just come forward and just share over 10 seconds where you're from, if you're a Toastmaster or a guest, and then move forward, because at the end of session, you are welcome to stay on and just let us discover more about you. Over to you, Sharif.
Okay, so let's proceed that way. So guests, we have, I already know that we have two guests. We have Ahmad and Deepali. Can you please introduce yourselves?
Yeah, you want me to introduce once again?
Yes, please, for the benefit of all members.
Sure, my name is Ahmad Jilani. I'm the father of two children. I live in Port Louis, and I work as a journalist. So this is the first time I'm joining a Toastmaster online. I have already, I went to a Toastmaster session as a guest before at Codan, Waterfront, and then this is the second time I'm joining you, because I'm intending to join a Toastmaster club after the confinement to improve my public speaking skills.
Okay, so welcome, Ahmad.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome to the Toastmasters family. So next guest, Deepali, can you please introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Deepali, and I joined the Gavel Club back in high school, and I never completed the program, unfortunately. So here I am back to rediscover the program and to hopefully join to improve my public speaking skills. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Next, who's in the line?
Hello, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, please.
So hi, I'm Sauda's guest. I'm new here. I'm not a Toastmaster. It's my first time for the session. So I'm pleased to be here and I'm looking forward to how it's going to be. So thank you.
Okay, so welcome. I'm sure you'll enjoy. Next.
Toastmaster Sharif, I would like to invite you to take on one more guest. We have at
Okay.
least 2 persons from Singapore. We can call
Ah,
on one of them and then we move into
okay,
the session.
that's great. So let's welcome our friends from Singapore.
Hi, my name is Rebecca.
Hello.
I'm
Yeah.
from Singapore Lanky Advanced Toastmaster. I got invite from Robin. Looking forward for tonight's meeting. Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am. And the other guest from Singapore?
Hi, my name is Belinda, and I am currently the Vice President of Education for Linky Advanced in Singapore. Yes, it's a pleasure to be here. I was invited by Robin as well.
Welcome. Welcome. We can take one more guest.
Mr.
Otherwise,
Toastmaster, let's move into the session, please. And
yes.
we invite the guest for the end of the session.
Okay, okay. We'll have more time. We'll have more times. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's session will be emceed by a very seasoned, energetic Toastmaster from Portwist Toastmasters Club, Robin Chang. Robin was a person who thought that he knew the art of public speaking until he got to know about Toastmasters Club. Ever since he joined Portwist Toastmasters Club in February 2019, he has always wanted to improve himself, where he has been passionately delivering speeches on a weekly basis. His purpose in life is to inspire and empower people in becoming better versions of themselves. Today, he will be our Toastmasters of the evening for our joint session. So let's welcome him tonight. Robin, over to you.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Plateau and Portwist Toastmaster joint session tonight. And if you are from all over the world, welcome here. If it's morning or afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you all. Welcome here. And tonight my name is Robin, and I'll be your Toastmaster of the evening. And as I'm supposed to be the one to welcome the guests, but already done, it's all right. Okay, so the first, tonight, our session, the theme of the day is creativity in crisis. And why I choose this theme, because in the time of crisis, in such time as this, during our we have COVID-19 pandemic, and we are all at home. That's why we have to come here on Zoom. So that's where our creativity comes in. We come to have online sessions, and not only that, we have also try to do new things. Some people have made dalgona coffee, you know. Some people have decided to cut their own hair, or get their girlfriend or their wife to cut their own hair. So there's a lot of new creative things that people have come during this time of crisis. And tonight, we'll have this creative session with you all today. So thank you very much for coming, and we'll proceed to the first item of tonight. So we'll have our word master here. So let me introduce the word master today. She joined Portwist Toastmasters in 2015 and was previously the treasurer in 2016 to 2017, and then a president of a club in 2018 to 19. I've got to know her as a great leader, and she's very strong, and yet someone who is very kind as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, let's welcome our word master of the day, Diana Goku. Diana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Robin, fellow presidents, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. I am very pleased to be here with you tonight and to be in this amazing session. So I'm going to be your grammarian for tonight, and I'm going to introduce to you the word of the day. So here we go. Okay, can you all see my screen? Yes?
Wonderman.
The word of the day is wonderment. So what does wonderment means? It means a state of wonder or surprise, marvel, or astonishment. It can also, you can also use the word admiration, amazement, astonishment, awe. So examples of how the word wonderment can be used are as follows. Nora shook her head in silent wonderment. Or you could also say, John stood atop a nearly 11,000 feet of mountain, gazing in wonderment at the spectacular view below him. So fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, if you are called to speak, please do use the word wonderment throughout the session. Over to you, TME.
Thank you very much, Wordmaster Diana. Indeed, this will be a wonderment session.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay, so next up we have the prepared speeches, and the prepared speeches are usually we have speakers to come because they prepared speeches, and we have people to introduce them for us. So let's have the first evaluator to tell us the objective of the first speaker.
Mr. Toastmaster, Mr.
Yeah.
Toastmaster.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you. I'd like to invite our attendees to not use the chat when our speakers, evaluators, table topic speakers are speaking. It's disturbing for some of them. Please use your chat to give feedback and share where you're from. That's awesome. But when the speeches are ongoing, please refrain from using the chat and sharing with everyone. Thank you so much. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Christian. So moving on, we have prepared speeches. For the first speech, we have Divya here. But first up, let's have Sharuna, her evaluator, to give us the objective of the speaker. Is Sharuna here?
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Hello. So Toastmaster Divya has her path is persuasive influence. She's currently doing her project too, and this is going to be her second speech, where she is going to present a speech on any topic. She has picked traveling, and she has to receive feedback to a second speech to show whether she has implemented the feedback that she got in the first speech or not. Over to you.
All right, thank you very much. Now let me introduce you our first speaker of the day. She's someone who's always trying something new, a risk taker who loves challenge and creative by nature. By profession, she's a banker and inspired to be a leader. Her Toastmaster journey started in October 2019. And now let's welcome Toastmaster Divya to the stage. First speech, Toastmaster Divya. Speech title, Travel Tomorrow, Toastmaster Divya. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Robin. Live the life with no excuses and travel with no regrets. Traveling for me relates to open-mindedness. It is about discovering new people, new places, and getting out of our daily routine. Hat suitcase, and off we go to our dream destinations as a tourist. Traveling for me is a wonderment since childhood. The global pandemic is a challenge for everyone. With travel restrictions, confinement, lockdown, oh my God. Current statistics, with nearly 300,000 of deaths around the world. Now, if you think about it, traveling will never be the same like ever again. Wearing a face mask, keeping social distancing, temperature checks, online payment or online check-in. Not easy, right? Now, imagine you are in a flight, having an urgent nature's call, but still waiting for your toilet request to get validated by one of the crew member on the plane. Crazy? No, that's actually true. Ryanair Airline just implemented this as one of their security measures. The World Travel Organization is working closely with the World Health Organization to ensure a better and resilient future for travelers' safety. You will realize that even the travel agencies and insurers are in an uncharted territory. Airlines are already struggling, asking for financial aid, like our national airline, and many of us saw that coming. This is sad to say that due to several lockdowns around the world, tourists, travelers, businessmen has not been able to travel, while others have been left stranded abroad. As a traveler, I am stranded at home, and at the click of a mouse, I am enjoying my virtual tours, discovering new places, like the Niagara Falls in Canada, or even the beautiful and colorful houses and streets in Boca, Cape Town, or even better, meeting you wonderful people during online sessions around the world. Traveling remains my biggest passion. To me, this situation is very impactful. I am trying to be more positive during the lockdown, crossing fingers that everything will go back to normal or the new normal. At last, I got my work access permit. Very excited to go out of home to work to supermarket without much restriction. Finally, I realized the value of time and life all together. I became more conscious about my surroundings, endeavor to set goals and achieving them. One of them being to attend the Plateau session every week without fail. I made it. For me, life isn't just about traveling. It's about discovering new things at every steps we take. Unlock the vaults to our imagination. We will get through this. Until and unless we have this desire to travel, not even that virus will kill that off. It's in our DNA. The world will recover slowly but surely. Together we can. Now, are you ready to travel? Come on. Yes or no? Yes. Let's go. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Divya. Wow, I was in wonderment when I heard your speech. Indeed, it makes me want to travel with you. Okay, next up, let's have our next speaker for tonight. Our next speaker is Binesh Bhikkhu, but first let's have the evaluator to give the objective of the speaker. Let's welcome Somaya Jolim. Somaya, are you here?
I am. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear Binesh. So the speech of Binesh today, the natural leader, is his level 2 project 1 speech on innovative planning. The speaker must identify his primary leadership style. The speaker must also share some aspect of his leadership style or discuss leadership styles in general. Best of luck and over to you, Mr. Vijay.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Somaya. All right, so are you ready for our next speaker? It can be seen, it can be heard, and it can even be felt that Toastmaster is in his blood. Toastmaster Binesh has been a member of Portuguese Toastmasters since the past 7 years, where he has occupied a few roles, including the treasurer, the vice president of education, and as well as the club president. He has also mentored the SD Work Mauritius Toastmaster Club, a corporate club. He is also he has successfully trained role takers for the past 2 national conferences held in Mauritius. He is a certified chartered accountant with ACCA. He is also the director and client accountant in his accounting firm, Excel Financials. So please, let's welcome Toastmaster Binesh Bhikkhu. Natural leadership, Binesh Bhikkhu. Binesh, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Robin. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much. Timer, when I say start, you can start the timing. Ready, start. Nature has taught us many things since ages. We can now fly like a bird. We can swim like dolphins. However, there is another thing that nature has taught us. Leadership. Well, some of you might ask, what's the connection between leadership and nature? Mr. the President, fellow Toastmasters, and the others. The oak and the weed. The oak and the weed is a fabulous fable from Aesop. Many people have been inspired by that fable, and we all know it since our childhood. However, there are some variants in that fable. I'm going to be referring to Samuel Crowley's version in which he relates an oak hanging by the bank of the river. A violent storm came and uprooted the oak and made him push along the stream. At a point in time, the oak got stuck among the reeds. The oak was surprised. How could the reed be standing firm, unhurt? Now, we all know what the reed is going to say. However, let's get back to the analysis from a leadership point of view. We learned that the oak and the reed have their own leadership style to face a particular situation. And that situation is violent storm. Now, if we look at the oak is broad, big, massive. His leadership style can be referred to as bureaucratic, where rules are stringently established and enforced, as the rules are inside the lens. Decisions are absolute and engage from top to bottom. The leaf providing the chlorophyll to the entire plant. The reed on the other side is referred to as being pacemaking and coaching. Pacemaking leadership style is by leading to embracing a new situation, like the strong wind or like the calm weather, and move with the speed. Here we say bend with the wind. Coaching by personalizing the approaches and meet the individual needs of a team. The reed is always seen as a bush. Each one standing on their own. However, when a situation appears, the tendency is to go in that direction. That is, when the wind blows, the wind blows from this side, the wind goes on this side. And some of the waves bend lower than the others. Some would say would stand a bit firm. Here we learn that the oak and the reed have different leadership styles. And when I look at nature, I've been inspired recently by going into the fields with my parents, and that gave me the inspiration of this speech. And I realized that coaching is my leadership style, among other styles stated in Toastmasters material. When I was young, I wanted to become a teacher to enjoy the holidays. Hey. However, destiny made me become a qualified accountant. During my journey, I was required to hand over my task and cleared my exam and moved up into the corporate ladder. Each time, I was coaching a different person for a different work. When I joined Toastmasters, I learned from the fabulous members in the club, as well as other clubs, how would you lead with leadership. As I've gathered experience and knowledge, I soon overflowed on other people when I started coaching over the past years. All these was natural to me. Coaching was in me. I was leading in a style known as coaching. On this note, fellow Toastmasters and my dear, whenever leadership styles, whichever leadership styles you have or you want to adopt, follow your natural leadership to adapt to situations. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Binesh. That was an excellent speech. Indeed, we need to have natural leadership to be able to be a great leader. Thank you very much. Next up, let's move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Subiraj Gajadar. So before that, let's have Brinda Surnam to let us know about the objective of the speaker. Brinda, where are you? Are you here, Brinda?
Is that all right?
Yep, all right.
Good evening, everyone. I will be evaluating Toastmaster Subiraj, who will be delivering his level 3 speech in innovative planning. The purpose of this project is to practice writing and delivering a speech to inspire others. The enigmatic title of his speech is RIP Toastmasters. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Brinda. So now before we hear our next speaker, let me introduce you the speaker. Toastmaster Subiraj is an IT product manager at SBM Port Louis, where he works for the past 32 years now. He joined Toastmaster in October 2018 in Another Club, where he became the SAA and even represented them in the speech contest of a national conference of 2019. He then transferred to Plateau Toastmasters in October 2019, where he is the incoming VPPR. He enjoys writing witty, original, and hilarious piece of scripts and comments while juggling with words. So now let's put our hands together and welcome Subiraj Gajadar, RIP Toastmaster Subiraj Gajadar. Subiraj, over to you.
Attention! Do you know that 75 years ago, some 75 million people, soldiers and civilians around the world, died during the Second World War, simply to give us a better world to live in? Do you have any idea how many Mauritians were involved in that war? Can I ask this question to the audience? Can I ask one? Bhavish, is there? Bhavish?
I have no idea, my friend.
Oh, thank you, Bhavish. Dear fellow Toastmasters and guests, good evening. According to the Mauritius Ex-Services Trust Fund, 38,000 Mauritians, men and women, participated in the war alongside British Army. British Army because Mauritius was a British colony, and Mauritians wanted to escape from high unemployment prevailing here in Mauritius on those days. Many of them even got married at a young age so as to benefit higher allowances paid to couples. This resulted in a traumatic situation whereby newly married couples got separated. Husband had to leave Mauritius to go on war, while young wives had to stay in Mauritius to live in Mauritius alone. Any guess about the role of Mauritian in that war? Can anybody give me an answer? Can I choose Shivani? Shivani, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Do you have any idea why? What's the role of Mauritian?
Frontliners.
Okay, thank you. Not very true, Shivani, their role was to do back office jobs like cooks, drivers, and cleaners. But I recall in my childhood, one of these Mauritian soldiers was my neighbor. I was in great wonderment when he claimed that he was a frontliner and that one day he met with Adolf, ... I don't want to mention the name, face to face, and that he ordered Adolf, hand a hook. And then, today, I realize he must have lied to me. He lied because if that were true, that day would have been his last day, and that both his body and soul would have been buried on the battlefield there itself. Anyway, when the war ended, 250 of those Mauritian soldiers died over there on the field, and most of the rest returned to Mauritius. Unfortunately, on those days, they did not have Wi-Fi facilities. They did not have Facebook, nor did they have evening Toastmasters meeting. The only option left to them was to catch up with their marital life. And they enjoyed it very much, so much that they created a baby boom, during which many of our parents took birth. Having said so, it is important to know that these Mauritian soldiers, along with millions of others around the world, sacrificed their lives to give us a better world to live in. And today, only around 900 of these soldiers are still living in Mauritius. But most of them are not recognized, except on Remembrance Day on every 11th November. Dear friends, do you know the reason why I am referring to this old story of Second World War? Can I ask this question? Someone from Portvis, is Bansam is there? Can he answer the question? Bansam,
hello.
Are you there? Yes, Bansam, do you know?
Hello.
Yes, Bansam.
Can you listen to me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you tell me?
Maybe sure. I think you want to link it to the present world crisis.
Maybe, yes, exactly. There are three main reasons for this. Firstly, I want to share a bit of history of the ex-servicemen with our young members so that they don't ignore the contribution of these people in our happy existence. Secondly, I want all of us to realize that today, history is repeating itself. We are like modern soldiers, and apparently we are already in Third World War, with an invisible war, with an invisible enemy, but with thousands of visible casualties, including unlimited collateral damages and death of companies, economies, and countries. This is where our role starts. As modern soldiers, once lockdown is relaxed, we shall not relax. We shall have to fight on various fronts: economics, social, politics. We shall have new normals, maybe subnormals for many of us. We may have to adopt minimalistic lifestyle. We shall have to have faith in our face to face our faith with face mask. I want to repeat, we shall have faith to face our faith with face mask. On a funny note, we may also face a new baby boom, because I wonder whether with this social distancing, we also had sexual distancing. I'm not sure about that. My third point is more important. The world must realize that investment in healthcare, intensive care unit, and medical studies are more important than outer space exploration. That is why we need to find ways to provide more facilities to students, to do more medical studies by eliminating any exorbitant costs and removing any barriers to entry in the field. By the way, doctors, nurses, and all medical staffs are important in all types of wars, be it biological, physical, visible, invisible. Therefore, my dear fellow Toastmasters, let us not be leaders in speech only. Let us be leaders in actions also. Let us revamp our ways of doing things. Let us face the forthcoming challenges. Let us inspire the world to progress in a better future. Let us use our leadership skills with tangible actions. Let us say RIP Toastmasters. But RIP does not mean what it means on Facebook. RIP in my book means revamp, inspire, progress. I repeat, in my book, revamp, inspire, progress. Over to you, Tim.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Subiraj. Wow, indeed, RIP Toastmaster. I thought that you're going to kill us tonight. But anyway, that was a killing speech. All right, so let's move on to our next speaker. Before we move on to our next speaker, the next speaker is Sauda Jolim. But first, let's have the evaluator, Krishan Ramchan, to give the objective of the speaker. Krishan, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. So, ladies and gentlemen, Sauda is speaking from the path Effective Coaching. She's currently working on level 1, and today or tonight, she's going to present her icebreaker. And she has the following purpose statement: to introduce herself and to also learn the basic structure of a public speech. I wish Sauda all the best. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Krishan. So now, our last speaker for tonight. She has been a Toastmaster for about 8 years. She grew up in the realm of the Toastmaster community ever since she was little. Well, not so little. She has taken a short break from Toastmasters, and she has recently just came back to our Port Louis Toastmasters Club. She is a great speaker and a great friend of mine. So let's put our hands together and welcome Sauda Jolim, live on Caps Locks. Live on Caps Locks. Sauda Jolim, the floor is yours.
For the past 25 years, I've lived my life on Caps Lock. Being the middle child in the family of 4, I made my own rules. I was not the first to set the example, neither the second to follow through, and obviously not the most pampered last. I had a clean slate. As you can see, all of them are members at Plateau, but I chose Port Louis Toastmasters Club. Mr. Vatiemi, fellow Toastmasters and dear guest, my childhood was no drab mechanical tale. It was fun. I fell from trees, I fell from my rooftop, and I fell from my bike. I have altogether 14 stitches all over my body. And this for me is proof of a childhood well spent. Later on, I dragged my way through school because, well, we had to. But at 18, I said my first no. I'm not going to sit again on a bench one of the 3 years. Whatever book there is to read, I will read them at my own decree. And this is where my passion for reading started. My favorite book of all time is The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. I have 2 library cards. I buy paperback, I read on my Kindle, and I read on my phone with my Scribd account. My highest Goodreads challenge so far is 53 books read in 2016. Regarding my career, I've started working right after high school. I then studied part-time, graduated in HR, and did another part-time creative writing and poetry classes at l'Institut Français de Maurice, where I eventually got published alongside Welsh writers and in a Point Barre magazine in France. I was privileged enough to work alongside grown-ups at a very young age. I've learned a lot, which I believe cannot be taught inside 4 walls. Teamwork, productivity, multitasking, and proper nights out. Speaking of multitasking, I was the master. Living my life on Caps Lock for me meant to never leave one single space blank. I have to complete my 24 hours completely. And what kept me grinding was my bucket list. The 100 things to do before you die. Now let me tell you some of the things that I have crossed out of my list before 30. To visit 5 countries, ticked 7. To work in a coffee shop, ticked Chelsea's Cup and Cake. To buy my own car, ticked, although the Holy Grail remains a German SUV, but still, I have 4 wheels. And my most favorite one is to use impeccable words, currently ticking. Though all of this may seem total wonderment and sensational, one must also learn how to shift gear and slow down once in a while. I myself focus too much on the outside instead of inside. But it took me courage and humility to find my authentic self and a new diversity. I'm no longer a loner, a perfectionist, but I now believe that there is strength in numbers. I no longer multitask, but I now operate with my heart. And I'm no longer judgmental, but I now know that everybody is doing their best, their very best. Fellow Toastmasters, I've shifted gears some time ago now, and my life is very low-key. And it couldn't be more amazing, more peaceful. I mean, for long we've been hearing speeches about extraordinary lives. The Robin Sharma style, the Tony Robbins effervescence. But maybe, just maybe, now, with this new era, may we learn about ordinary lives. How, instead of changing the world, Toastmasters have been nothing but appreciating the world. Fellow Toastmasters, this has been my life so far. Running, achieving, accumulating. But now, slowing down, breathing, accepting. Not that one is better than the other, but I'm learning to find balance. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Sauda. Indeed, that was a great speech. Like I was telling you that she's a great speaker and she killed it tonight. All right, so before we move on to our table topics, I was informed that the Plateau Toastmaster President, Biancoch, is here with us. So he cannot speak with us tonight, but let's just wave at him and welcome him tonight. Will you do that for me? Just wave at the camera for him. Hi, Biancoch. All right, so next up, we have, okay, before we hand over to our table topic master, is that we'll vote for the best speaker. So who is doing that? Christian or Biancoch? Who is doing the?
Give us a few minutes. We'll set up the Zoom polling. We'll come back to you.
Okay, sure. So I'll proceed next to the table topics. Is that all right?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to our table topics. Our table topic master this evening has a very interesting history. Over the past 40 years, he has dabbled in various fields and businesses: salesman, journalist, garments, packaging and forwarding, exporter, modeling, advertising, Toastmaster, humorist, publishing, editing, training, event manager, and even more. Wow, that's a lot. He has failed in most of them, but he has not given up. He then discovered a very unusual business. He got certified as a laughter coach and leader and was appointed a laughter ambassador by Dr. Madan Kataria, the founder of Laughter Yoga. Toastmaster distinguished guests, please let's welcome the the laughter guru and Toastmaster Ravin Lama to lead the table topic session this evening. Ravin.
Thank you, Toastmaster Robin, for that wonderful introduction. Presidents, Toastmaster of the evening, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Roscoe Drummond, an American journalist, once said, "The mind is a wonderful thing. It starts working the minute you are born and never stops until you get up to speak in public." Roscoe must have been referring to table topics. Here's some trivia. Table Topics was first started in 1936. Decades later, Table Topics is still a signature club activity. While the purpose of encouraging participation remains the same, the benefits embrace much more. That simple 1 to 2 minute impromptu speech can transform your communication and leadership skills. Love it or loathe it. Table Topics is a powerful tool for growth. Every day we engage in impromptu speaking. In conversation, you speak off the cuff. When asked for your opinion or a summary of a task at work, you speak extemporaneously. Table Topics hones the skill of creating an impromptu response that is laser focused, compelling, and engaging. Things always happen for a reason. The current situation is no exception. Today, the theme for Table Topics, which may bring about wonderment, even shock and awe, is on SAX. Not sex, but SAX, as in S-A-X. It's an acronym for stressing around excessively. We have 4 speakers. What I will attempt is pick on 2 speakers, each from both clubs, to ensure equal participation. You have 2 minutes to deliver your speech. Here is how it works. At 1 minute, you will see the green light. At 1 minute 30 seconds, the amber light, and the red light at 2 minutes, meaning your time is up. Here we go. I can see Manish Bandhan waving frantically to grab my attention. So Manish, are you ready for your table topic?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah, okay, here's your topic, Manish.
Thank you.
Toastmaster Manish, you have been locked down at home for over 2 months now. Which is your favorite room and why?
Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters, TME of the evening, good evening. So we have been locked down for 2 months, and the question is, what is my favorite room? As I think about this in wonderment, it's difficult for me to find a favorite room. You see, I live in a small apartment. It's not very big. It's not big, but it's cozy. It's not spacious, but it does bring us together as a family closer. So as I think about this deeper, I would say I really enjoyed this confinement because it allowed me to really discover many facets of my home, which I didn't realize. I was able to discover many new nooks and corners while I was cleaning. You see, in confinement, we have to play several roles. As a teacher, as a house caretaker, as a worker, as a spouse, as a parent. So I've been all around the house. Now, if you push me a bit more, if I have to really choose what would be a favorite room, I would say the living room. Why? Because it made me realize that we take our freedom for granted. We've been living in confinement, in lockdown, with our liberties confined for the past 2 months. And for me, the living room is the most spacious room. So for me, it means valuing that freedom that we have, that I will never take for granted anymore. And also valuing all the specific times that we spend in the living room with our family to build closer connections when times are tough. So for me, it's really the living room where we do get to spend quality time with our loved ones, build connections, and make sure that everyone is safe and well. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Manish. Live and let live. Okay, I've got DTM Toastmaster Uma Nair from the Plateau Toastmasters Club. Uma, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Uma, here's your topic. Some time ago, I think about 2 weeks ago, one of the members of the Port Louis Toastmasters Club, Deepa, posted on her Facebook page that she has added one more qualification to her CV, that of a professional dishwasher. Is there any special skill you have picked up or developed?
Table topic master, presidents and fellow Toastmasters of Plateau and Port Louis. It's a great pleasure to speak to all of you today at this joint meeting. And well, talking about the confinement, for me, I have been working for a long time in Gulf, the Middle East, and I moved over to Mauritius about a year ago, last January, in fact. And when I left Muscat, where I was working earlier, I resigned my job and came over. They asked me to continue on a work from home. Work from home seemed to be a very alien role for many people, and I had to explain it. Not anymore. Everybody understands WFH. I don't even have to explain what the acronym means. So when we were all moved into lockdown, for me, there was no difference, in fact, because last year and a half, I have been working from home and I have been in confinement. Instead of going out every day to work, I've been moving out only once or twice a week just for the groceries or maybe just for an evening out with my husband. Now, asking me about what I have picked up on my something to add on to my life. Well, I think I have picked up a little more patience because I had to endure my husband, who's also a Toastmaster, in the house full time. Someone I never got for the last 25 years. I've been married to him. The last 2 months, we both had to endure each other. I don't know, probably he had to endure me more, but that's something I picked up from him. Patience, long time due, but finally at 25 years, I have picked it up. Maybe I should put it on my CV. It will look good for my next job, right? Table topic master, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Uma. Well said. Our third speaker is from the Port Louis Toastmasters Club. And I can see again frantic waving going on by Varda Jhakri. Varda from Port Louis Toastmasters, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, Varda, here is your topic. Almost all the videos you see online these days is about how traumatic it has been for men spending 24 hours at home, especially with the wife. What kind of video would you make regarding what men have to go through, what women have to go through living with men?
Thank you very much for the question. So just to rapidly introduce myself, my name is Varda and I'm from Port Louis Toastmaster. Well, this is a very interesting question. We often hear men complaining about their wife. What can I say about men? I think the best thing is that often men forget that to be able to live with women happily, they should learn one thing, and this is to say yes. Even if they are wrong, they have to say yes. If they don't want to get trouble, for example, if the wife asks, Am I beautiful? You have to say yes. Have I cooked well? Is the food good? You have to say yes. So this is what man is going through right now at home. So and that's it. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arda. We have the last speaker now for the table topics. I can see one hand go up from Plateau, that of Bhavish. Bhavish, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Shoot me.
Okay, Bhavish, here is your topic. Now that the children have been home the last 2 months, is there any interesting story you could share with us? Or if you don't have kids, any interesting story you have heard from your neighbors, friends?
Well, any interesting story about kids? To be honest, I hate kids. If ever I get married one day, I prefer not to have kids. At least not for my first 10 years of marriage. Stories about kids? Well, I think it should be, if I hear stories about kids, it would be bad stories because first of all, they don't go to school now for 2 months already. They don't go to school. And from the news that we hear, they won't resume school not before August. So can you imagine how troublesome it is? So I would be in wonderment if I have kids at home actually right now. Luckily, I'm not in that situation. In my family, there's no kids. So I think I am very lucky not to have kids at home. Otherwise, they would be messing around everywhere, I think. And I hate that. I just hate kids. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhavish. Those were the 4 speakers we had for the table topics. The first was Manish Bandhan. Second was Uma Nair. Third was Varda Jhakri. And the last was Bhavish Budhu. I'd just like to end, we've been in lockdown. Iceland has a motto, a national motto, which says, Peta redast, meaning it will work out. Let us believe and hope that it will all work out in the end so that we may all be in wonderment. Over to you, Toastmaster of the evening, Robin.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ravin. Indeed, I'm always in wonderment whenever you speak. Whenever you have the floor to speak, you always make us laugh. You always inspire people, and you're always there to, like, a great friend, very fatherly. So thank you very much. And now now we will go to the evaluation. So we will have our next person in charge, who is the general evaluator. So let me introduce you the general evaluator. Faisal Jolim has been a Toastmaster for the last 16 years. He started his journey at Port Louis Toastmasters Club in 2004. After a few speeches, he moved to Plateau Toastmasters, occupied various positions in the committee, culminating to club president in 2011. He participated in national conference on several occasions and won the table topic contest in the very first conference in 2019. He has recently, guys, awarded DTM on his 60th birthday last year. And then he is also a proud father of only 4 children, namely Sumaya, Salima, Sauda, and Ridwan. And his life motto is give back more than you received. Please help me welcome our General Evaluator, DTM Faisal Jolim. The floor is yours, DTM.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Tiami, for this introduction. In fact, the first conference was in 2009. Well, as General Evaluator, my role is to evaluate everything that happens throughout the meeting. And also I have to note anything that should have happened and hasn't happened during the meeting. I will evaluate the meeting program. I have a team of role players, 4 experienced evaluators, timer, grammarian, accountant, and so on. And at the end of the meeting, I will give a general report on how we perform during the meeting, about the preparation, the organization, the performance of duties, the enthusiasm shown during the meeting. So let me proceed with the introduction of the first evaluator for the speech of Divya. She joined Fortis Toastmasters in 2016 to hone her public speaking skills. He participated in countless internal speech competitions, twice contested at national level, has also served as jury last year at the conference. For her, evaluation, both giving and receiving, is what brings those speakers closer and closer to excellence. Please help me to welcome Sharuna Doyal. Sharuna, the floor is yours.
Toastmasters, thank you. Toastmasters, dear guests, and Toastmaster Divya, are you ready? Get your hats, suitcases, and off we go. Toastmaster Divya, you picked a very relatable topic and invited all of us on a journey to discover travel's future, and also of everything that we're going to miss and are already missing about it. You made it even more relatable by talking about things that all of us somewhere are going through. You spoke about the new normal, you spoke about the work access permit, and we really could feel ourselves connected to your story. What I really liked about your speech is the preparation behind it. So even before you started speaking, we knew that you were going to speak about travel. You had a background, you had the picture of a plane already going on, and I really liked also your position. You stood in front of your screen and didn't really move too much. For me, it's still very new as an audience to be listening to a speech that's happening online. So I kind of liked that you didn't move too much, because sometimes when you move, the sound gets affected and we can't really hear you that well. So for me, it made sense that you stood. You were centered as well, so that was interesting. I could see you, I could see what you were doing, and also the plane behind. Because this is your second speech and you are currently working on implementing feedback, we had a discussion earlier today, and I would just like to go through some of the points that we discussed and how I felt it as somebody who was listening. So you told me that in your previous speech, you used a lot of hand gestures. For this speech, I found it very appropriate. You didn't use your hands overly to overemphasize or to divert our attention from what you were saying. It was meaningful. When you didn't use your hands, you just kept it here and we could see it and it was okay. I also liked how you smiled from time to time. And you also told me that you were working on not letting your stress show, and the fact that you paused and smiled, you made impact, but at the same time, you know, we could see that you were relaxing into it, and you know, you were here. Now, because you can always make it better, I want to share a couple of points that would have, for me, really amplified the experience. First of all, call it an occupational hazard if you want. I really love stories. And I wait for Toastmasters meeting just to hear those personal stories. When you talk about something that is so beautiful and mesmerizing, like travel, people automatically expect some of the stories that you've gone through. You've spoken about how you are passionate about travel. So try to show us that passion through some of the stories. The second thing that I would really love to see is more emotions. You spoke about the Niagara Falls, and that in itself is a very sensorial experience. So for me, it would have made it more magical to see, how did you feel? What was it like? How, you know, what were the feelings that you went through at that point? And last but not the least, right now, everybody is talking about the new normal. Everybody is talking about traveling. So I would have liked it, you know, even more, and probably remembered it over time, if you had left us with something that is very personal to you. Yes, we talk about travel. How is it going to look? Message behind. There's something really beautiful that you said that maybe I would like to finish with. Toastmasters meeting right now, how we are going through that. So for me, in a lot of ways, that does look like traveling. We meet people from everywhere around the globe. We listen to different stories. We have a lot of cultural experiences. It's very sensorial. We laugh with people, discover new things. So maybe try to weave that more into some sort of a message to leave us with, so that your speech is really your personal message through whatever you want to tell us as stories that come through. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I look forward to your next speech. All the best to you, Divya.
Thank you, Sharona.
Thank you, Sharona, for this evaluation. That's very good that you talk, it's a good principle that you talk to the speaker before the meeting and try to know where she want to, where she want you to focus, and where he want you to draw her attention, where to improve. That's a good technique to speak to the speaker before the session. Let's move on to the second evaluator. She had been attending Toastmasters Club since she was around 14. Her father, that happened to be me, used to drag her to meeting when she was still attending secondary school. Later, she joined Plateau Toastmasters Club for some years and moved to Portwist Toastmasters to join her sisters there. And she moved back to Portwist. She said she's very happy that we are having the opportunity to have a joint meeting so that we can learn from each other and increase the camaraderie between clubs. She asked me not to mention, so I'm not mentioning that she won the conference, the evaluation contest at the club conference last year. She asked me not to mention it, so I'm not mentioning it. Over to you, Sumaya.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear Binesh. Toastmasters is where leaders are made, and we are all here in one way or the other trying to discover the leader in us. I felt, Binesh, that your speech, the natural leader, was most befitting in helping me in this quest, as you devised a very good structure to impart your message tonight. You had a story, the oak and the reed, which I feel is a very effective medium to bring such a wide encompassing and abstract thing such as leadership down to us, the audience, and make it very relatable. I also loved your gestures tremendously throughout your speech. Gestures is what bring the speech to life, and yours did just that. Fly like a bird, bend with the wind, large, massive, big oak tree. Your gestures were in congruence with your message, and I really appreciated this effort. Your vocal variety displayed also when you emphatically described the big, large, massive oak tree, for example, was really commendable in that it gave a certain beat to your speech. Now, there are some recommendations that I would like to share with you tonight. First, however gripping your story of the oak and the reed was, unfortunately, I feel that I failed to grasp the connection between the story of the oak and the reed and your leadership style coaching, which you later developed in your speech. I believe that good transition is of paramount importance, and we as the audience must clearly see the common thread throughout the speech. I really wanted you to illustrate, for example, how you were able to bend like the reed, and this made you a better leader. Second, again with speech development, I felt that your conclusion was a bit too abrupt. You really want to put a lot of thought in your conclusion because this is the key message that the audience is taking home. Having said that, you told me that this is the first time you're on speaking on screen, and I felt that you did a laudable job. Well done. In summary, effective storytelling, good vocal variety and gestures, remember, good transitions and better development, and I'm awaiting to be left in wonderment for your next speech. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Sumaya.
Thank you, Dr. Sumaya. Very structured evaluation. Evaluation is the personal opinion of the evaluator, and throughout you mentioned I felt, I love, I appreciate, because evaluation is about the personal opinion of the evaluator. And good structure as well, and well summarized at the end. Our third evaluator will evaluate the speech of Subiraj Gajdar. Toastmaster Brinda has been a Toastmaster since October 2015. She is currently on the path of completing her competent communicator. She is an educator by profession and writer by passion. Currently, she is creating and posting free educational content for lower secondary school students and educators as well. For her, Toastmasters Club is her family, and the Toastmaster Credo, her values. Join hands together to welcome Toastmaster Brinda.
Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes.
Chairpersons, Toastmasters and guests, you will agree with me that even before Toastmaster Subiraj uttered his first word, he gripped our attention. The title, Brick Toastmasters, was mysterious. Toastmaster Subiraj, a speaker's first goal is to attract the audience's attention. And through your title, you have certainly aroused our curiosity and attracted our attention and kept us in wonderment. In a myriad of speeches, every speaker wishes that his speech is remembered, and your title is memorable. The second goal of the speaker, Toastmaster Subiraj, is to engage the audience, make them participate, unite them with the speech, and with your pertinent questions. You did so. You had 3 questions which you carefully spread it out throughout your speech. You fulfill the third goal, that is persuading your audience. Your content was powerful, innovative. You told us about the Mauritian soldiers who fought under the British flag, their trials, their tribulations. And right now, we are on the brink of a new challenging life, just like them. My interpretation of your message was, if our ancestors could overcome difficult times, so can we. Toastmaster Subiraj, I feel that your speech is living and breathing and vibrant. And in my opinion, your speech would have been more powerful through body movements. This speech loses its momentum because you were sitting down. Another point that I would like to bring to your attention is that in many parts you look down. As a speaker, your goal is to break all the barriers between you and the audience. And when you look down, there was that barrier. The screen is already a barrier. Toastmaster Subiraj, I am floored by your introduction, conclusion, your content, your vocal variety, the words that you used, the humor, the storytelling, and you have all the ingredients of a powerful Toastmasters conference level speech. You have fulfilled your objective. I wish you well, Toastmaster Subiraj. Keep reinventing, keep inspiring, and keep progressing. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Brenda. A really good structured evaluation where you highlight things especially related to video speech. Our next speaker, evaluator, is Kishan Ramchand. Kishan has been a member of Plateau Toastmasters since 2011, where he has occupied a number of roles in the club, including that of president. He is currently actively involved with Online Toastmasters Club. He is a member of 5 such clubs. In fact, Christian has started with online meeting a few years back ahead of COVID in Mauritius. He is currently working to improve on his evaluation delivery and hopes that he can do justice to this role in today's meeting. He is very humble. So join me to welcome Kishan Ramchand.
Mr. General Evaluator, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guest, and Sauda. Life on Caplocks. Now, I don't know about you, but when Sauda was sharing, explaining, describing, she caught me from start to finish because I had my life on Caplocks. And Sauda, thank you for sharing such a well-wrapped message tonight. Sauda, when I listen to an icebreaker, I look at 3 things. What's the purpose of the message? How is the audience receiving the message? And number 3, will I remember the message after a week? Now let's look at the first one. How is the message being delivered, the purpose? You did so many amazing things, Sauda. I saw you stand, I saw you deliver, and you had descriptive words. I heard running, achieving, accumulating. I heard my own decree. I'd never heard of that phrase used in a speech. And it was mesmerizing to see all those words being delivered at the right pace, pose, power, and pitch. You had it in you to make this a winning speech. And I think it is a winning speech. You also had a good ending. And here's my first recommendation, Sauda. You told me about you at the close. What I would have loved you to do is, after listening to your amazing delivery, what's in it for me? What do you want me to do afterwards? What is the action I should take from being inspired by you? So that is my recommendation on this. The next item I'm looking at is for the audience. Now, Sauda, if we had to take one example from this session as an example on body language, that was you. You were there, you were paused, you stood firm, tall, and proud, but yet humble. You were looking at me, the hands were there, and you were using them when you had to, and you were not moving left and right. Even seasoned speakers get this. They get jiggy, but you were not getting jiggy. My recommendation here, Sauda, for you is when you're using your hands. I saw this a few times. The hands were like this. For me, it felt like you didn't know at those moments, those action verbs, what to do with the hands. If you don't know what to do with the hands, put them down, because they could have distracted your audience from the whole body of hand gestures that you had. And a couple of times I saw the hands going back. Don't do that. I don't know what to do with the hands, I drop them down. When I use the hands, I bring them back up. And Soda, the message, usually when I listen to an icebreaker, I'd flush it the next day. But your message is going to be with me for the next month. Why? Because besides the words, you had stories. You shared your life, the school, the struggles with the siblings and the father, the achievements. That was wonderful. If I have one recommendation, one gift to you, Soda, is twofold. Number one, have only 1 or 2 or 3 stories, because you have 4 to 6 minutes. Number two, instead of making it about your success, tell me about where you failed, because then I won't remember it for a month. I'll remember it for a lifetime. Soda, keep doing what you're doing, keep improving on the recommendations, and I'm sure you're going to rock the floor. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Krishan. An evaluation is in itself a speech. It needs a structure, vocal variety, hand gestures. And in Krishan evaluation, all of these ingredients were there. Krishan, you did justice to your role. No worries about that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to vote for the best evaluator. I presume Jan Coach will send the ballot so that members can vote for the general evaluator. Let me remind you who are the evaluators. We have Sharuna Doyal, Sumaya Jolim, Brinda Surnam, and Krishan Ramchurn. So let's move to the next item. Yes.
Sorry, you just need to have to check whether all evaluators are within time and are eligible for voting.
Yes. Timer. Melvin, can you tell us whether all the evaluators were within time?
Yes. Actually, Sharuna Duyal went beyond time.
Okay. So Sharuna is not qualified for vote. We vote between the 3 other evaluators, namely Sumaya Jolim, Brinda Surnam, and Krishan Ramchurn. Cast your vote. I presume Jan Coach will tell you how to cast your vote. Is it by chat or there's a
Mr. General Evaluator, the polling has appeared on our screen, so we can vote for the best speaker, best table topics speaker, and evaluator.
It disappeared straight away.
It disappeared from my side.
Yes, it appeared only for 1 second on my side.
Okay, we'll look at it in the back office, and here it is.
Now it appears again. That's good.
All right, thank you. Please go ahead and vote, and please vote for me. Thank you.
I am allowing you a few seconds to vote, and then we'll resume with the meeting. Okay, that's fine. Let's proceed with the other role players on my list. The next one, as per the agenda, will be the Word Masters report. Diana Gokul, she has already been introduced at the beginning of the meeting. So I'll just ask Diana to give her report as Word Master.
Okay.
Over to you, Diana.
Thank you, General Evaluator. So my role as a word master, the word of the day was wonderment. So the word of the day was used 6 times. Wow, that's great. Well done, but we could have done better, but still, it's still very good. So it was used once by Toastmaster Divya, once by Toastmaster Manish, once by Toastmaster Bhavish,
once by Toastmaster Robin and twice by the Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Robin. So that concludes my role for tonight. Well done and still be in wonderment. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Diana, for this brief and concise report. I'll proceed with the next, who is the grammarian. I understand that she's also the listening post, which means that she will ask a few questions to members on things that have been said during the meeting to see whether you have been listening attentively during the meeting. Let me introduce the grammarian. She joined Toastmasters a few years ago as she was craving for some me time and to reconnect with her intellectual self. She's a full-time mom, and she said it's crazy roller coaster ride over the past 11 years. But Toastmasters has been a real breath of fresh air and made a real difference to her life after having cut off from the world for so long. Join me to welcome Ishrat Bandan for the grammarian report. Ishrat, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Good evening, everyone. As grammarian, my main task was to carefully observe the language used in the meeting by anyone who had a speaking opportunity. Word choice, pronunciation, sentence structure, and particularly phrases. I have not only taken note of improper language, but also exceptionally skillful word usage. I will therefore begin my report will therefore be multifold, and I will begin with a few grammatical errors that I have taken note of. First was the 300,000 of deaths around the world, just 300,000 deaths. You don't need that preposition. At every steps we take, at every step, every is a singular word, so it's every step, doesn't take the plural form. Each one stranding on their own, so each one stranding on his own. Husbands had to leave their wife, so it's husbands had to leave their wives. Mauritians to go at war, so you should read Mauritians to go to war. One of this, I forgot what was the other noun that followed, but when you say one of, it's usually one of many. So this doesn't apply here. It should be one of these, whatever noun that was. Due to several lockdowns, the plural takes precedence here. I've heard a few pronunciation mistakes as well. So Canada is pronounced as such and not Canada. Endeavor instead of endeavor. We have a tendency of pronouncing the pronoun the as when it follows another word starting with a vowel. And the general rule is that is pronounced as the when the next word starts off with a vowel. So the proper way of saying the oak is the oak. There has been various pronunciation mistakes with the sounds sh and the, correct, at your own leisure and with a lot of practice. Having said that, I have to commend you on exceptionally skillful word usage and phrases. I have been in wonderment with all the beautiful English phrases and sentences have been used tonight. I'll make a list of them. I had a clean slate. My childhood was no drab mechanical tale. At my own decree, cannot be taught inside four walls. What kept me grinding was my bucket list. The Holy Grail remains a German SUV. Shift gear and slow down. My life is very low key. Love it or loathe it. Speak off the cuff. Extemporaneously. Extemporaneously is an adverb which was rightly used in the table topic segment, which means spoken or done without permission. Waving frantically, nooks and corners. We take our freedom for granted. Sensorial experience. I love that word sensorial, because instead of picking at each and every of our 5 senses, it takes into consideration all of our senses in just one word. Gesture incongruence with your message, gives a certain beat to your speech, paramount importance, a myriad, well-wrapped message. And there were a few rhetorical devices that I picked up as well. There were a few simile used: fly like a bird, swim like dolphins. And there was a beautiful alliteration as well, with the sound F. And if you don't know what an alliteration is, alliteration means using words starting with the same letter or sound together in a group. And here there was an alliteration of the sound F. We shall have faith to face our fate with face masks. Another an anaphora, and anaphoras, 2 or more successive phrases. There was let us be leaders, let us be leaders, let us revamp our ways, and let us inspire the world. And last but not least, the last rhetorical device used was enumeration and antithesis. There were the words running, achieving, accumulating, and the antithesis following that was slowing down, breathing, accepting. That's it for my report. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Ishrat, for that comprehensive report. As expected, you don't miss anything, and you just note everything, good or bad or wrongly crook words. And although that, let me say it, you're not a teacher as such, you're so good in English language. So let's move to the accountant report to be delivered by Jeshta. Jeshta is a banker by profession. She's currently studying for her ACA, Chartered Accountant, and intends to specialize in internal audit. This year, she's determined to hone her communication skills and leadership traits to embolden herself to become a three-dimensional leader. She's currently working hard on her learning curve, and she's moving fast. I can assure you on that curve. So join me to welcome Jeshta for her accounter's report.
Thank you, General Evaluator. My role as accountant is to note and keep track of words and sounds used as crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks during the meeting. The use of inappropriate interjections such as and, well, but, so, like, you know, as well as sounds like will be met in an audible click. My report is as follows. Robin Chan has used 5 ers, 6 ms. Subiraj had used the words that and end as filler words. They were used more than 10 times. That can be improved by restructuring the phrases through the use of passive voice and using more conversations. Manish Bantan had used 7 ers, 9 ms, and the words it's, so, and you see were used as filler words. Ravin had used 10 ers, Uma Nair 6 ers, Warda has had 4 Ers, Bavish 3 Ums, 6 Ers, and the words well and so were used as filler words. Faisal had 4 Ers, Sharuna 8 Ers, and the word so was used as a filler word. Christian had 4 Ers, and all remaining speakers did not use any clutch filler words, nor sounds like ums or ers. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yes, thank you, Jeshta, for that report. Without further ado, we'll move to the next role player, the timer. He has been listening and keeping track of times. According to my watch, we are 4 minutes late. More details will come with the report of the timer, Melvin. Let me introduce Melvin. His experience in software development and embedded system. He owns a degree in computing, University of Portsmouth, and is also director of Iowa Access Indian Ocean Limited, a company specialized in manufacture of drones. He joined Toastmasters in December 2018 and completed his level 1 in presentation mastery. Join me to welcome the timer, Melvin. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, dear Toastmasters, dear President, dear fellow guests. Just for the benefit of the guests, the timer's report is about evaluating what was the forecast of the time that was allocated for the various sections of the speeches and the program, and what was respected and where we have more time. So I will start by sharing my screen with all of you. As you can see here, we can see what was the time that was allocated in the beginning of the course of the session, and we started with 5 minutes late. Though we took 4 minutes 30 for the introduction, this was because we introduced the guest in the first section when it was supposed to be in the second section. But then the time was catch up when we reached the word of the day. For the second section, that is the prepared speeches, we were moreover in time, and it was just for one speech that it was just at this section when we reached the third speaker that we were 1 minute late. But this was catch up throughout the session afterwards. The table topic session was moreover in time, where everyone was within time during the speeches. And for the evaluation part, we had it was when we reached the evaluation part that we went 2 minutes late, 1 minute late for after the first evaluation, and then it started increasing up and as we move on. For the role players part, we started at 20:33 instead of 20:30, which was 5 minutes late. But then we catch up time, and now we are at the timer's report at 1 minute 30, and we'll end most probably within 2 minutes. So that was my timer's report for everyone, and I will be sharing the timer's report after the session. Thank you. Over to you.
Please unmute yourself, Faisal. We can't hear you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Timer. That was a good report, technical one. We track the time where we're going, and we are currently 5 minutes late, which we can understand because we started 5 minutes late at the beginning. So let me give you a general report for the session. I was very enthusiastic when I learned about this joint session. It was a great session with 2 clubs, all the clubs on the island. And we are this year celebrating the 20th years of presence in Mauritius. Now, a lot of preparation has gone behind the scene. I have witnessed a few of them, among others, the joint group for the role players, and so many things happen behind the scene to make the session a success. A good preparation guarantees 50% success, it is said. I would rather say that, in fact, it guaranteed 80% success, and the 20% is during the meeting. Let's talk about what happened during the meeting. We started a few minutes late, but what was good was that the room was open as early as 6:30. Well done, Christian. This was to allow role players to test their mic and video, and also to find two co-hosts to help him do some housekeeping throughout the session, because with the online session, there are a lot of housekeeping to be kept, among others, mute, unmute, waiting room, etc. Sharif did well to step in to replace Bianco to start the meeting. Guests were welcomed warmly, especially those from abroad. And Robin Chan, as TME, bring his enthusiasm and took over and start introducing the speakers, and there was smooth transition between evaluators, speakers, until the end of the first segment. Table topic master Ravin Lama did a fine job. He earmarked his victims, 2 from Port Louis, 2 from Plateau, early, and all the topics were related to confinement and open-ended and were well answered by the role players. Overall, I would say that the meeting was a great one. We're looking to have this type of meeting again. It's long overdue that we should be having joint meeting with other clubs. Thanks to COVID, at least there are a few positive things out of this COVID-19. Not a few. If you start looking for them, there are so many positive things that you can learn at individual level or at other social levels. Overall, a great session. All the role players did a great job. And I hand over to the tabletop master, Robin Chan, for the rest of the session. Over to you, Robin Chan.
Thank you very much, DTM Faisal, our general evaluator. Yeah, I'm not the table topic, I'm the Toastmaster of the evening. All right, so thank you very much. Before we go, before we have, do you want to know who are the winners tonight? But before we do that, let's have some guest comments here. We have guests from all over the world, from few places in Mauritius as well. So let's have a few minutes, just 30 seconds of what do you think of our session today? So let's have some guests. Let's have
Toastmaster Robin, may I suggest that our guests, they can turn their screen on and raise their hand, because we don't know from the participant window who is a guest and who is not. Okay. And so please, guests, please come forward, raise your hands, and we'll come to you. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, let's have, I see from Blanking, Singapore, Advanced Singapore. So let's have Jennifer. Is Jennifer here? Jennifer Lim.
She may have moved away from her connecting device.
Okay.
Oh, she's here.
Oh, she's here.
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, I'm Jennifer from Thinking Advanced Singapore, VP. And it is my first time attending your chapter meeting, and it's a joint meeting. I find it so awesome, and the speakers, evaluators are all wonderful, and I really enjoy it so much. Thank you so much for inviting me. Back to you.
All right, thank you for joining us tonight, all the way from Singapore. So we have another one from Singapore, if I'm not mistaken. Where are you guys? Is Yuli here?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Julie. Good to see you again.
Hi, Robin. Good to see you. Thanks for inviting. Good evening, everyone. It's like almost 1 a.m. here. It's past midnight, and this is like my number, I think, number 4th or 5th Zoom for today. But I'm glad that I'm here today. I did not miss. I'm so glad I'm here. Otherwise, I would have missed something really awesome. I want to thank you all for actually having us, a whole bunch of Linky people here. I have Rebecca here, Belinda here, Jennifer, and myself. You're all here to support Port Louis and also Plateau Toastmasters Club. What I find that is very interesting about this is you have a joint meeting and each of you have a designated speakers. Like for instance, like table topics, you have 4 speakers and 2 from each club. And this is something that we trying to emulate over at our site too, at Linky Advanced to have a joint meeting. So this is something that we can learn from you guys. And because this is a joint, so it's actually bring the bond closer, even though distance does not pull us apart. We are all due to this COVID, we are all actually bonded together in a very big group, in a big family. Thank you once again for inviting all of us here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judy, from all the way from Singapore. Thank you to come here. I know that it's 1 a.m. and we really appreciate your presence here with the Linking family here. So before we go, we have guests, more guests here. Okay, I have one more. Let me have one more guest, and then after that, we have Deepali. Yeah. Unmute your mic, please.
Hold on, I'm unmuting you. Please go ahead.
First of all, I am Wonderment. I really enjoyed the session. I think the best thing that I learned from this session is the only way to get rid of my public speaking fears is to combat it, and this can be fun. I also really enjoyed the table topics. I think it's a great way to allow you to think on your feet. And it's a skill that I really want to master because I'm a barrister at law and court appearances can be really scary. And thank you everyone for the warm welcome, and I look forward to becoming a Toastmaster soon.
Thank you very much, Deepali. Okay, we don't have much time, so we'll proceed to the next item, which is the awards ceremony. We'll go on to the guests later on. We have an after party, so later, just after the session, please stay back and we will chat. We will have some fun, you know. So we have our master after party host here with us, Christian. So he will give us more details after that. Okay. So now, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, our winner for today for the table topics. No, let's start with evaluator. And okay, let's start with evaluator. So our best evaluator for today, help me. Drum rolls, everyone. Christian Ramchan. Yay.
Thank you so much for voting for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. I humbly accept the ribbon.
Your dream come true.
Thank you.
Your
But
wishes come true.
I thought someone else was going to win, but thank you so much.
All right, the next up, our winner for the best table topic is drum rolls, everyone. Manish Bandan. Yay!
Thank you, thank you. It's a pleasure. I'm really honored. So it's been a real pleasure to participate in this meeting, and I look forward to another joint meeting soon. All the best.
All right, thank you for these words, Manish, and congratulations to you. Next up, our last one, the best speaker for tonight in this joint meeting of Port Louis Toastmaster and Plateau Toastmasters is, drum rolls, Sauda Jolim. Sauda,
Thank
where
you.
are you?
Thank you.
A few words.
Thank you for the joint meeting. Hopes I'm getting so many messages. It's been 2 years since I'm back, so I'm starting over, and I've had help from many Toastmasters, so I'm glad to be back. And for my first session with my 2 favorite club of Mauritius. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sauda. I thought that Port Louis Toastmaster was your favorite one. So yeah, anyways, okay, moving on. Let's close with our president of Port Louis Toastmasters is not here, so I'll hand the floor to Nurina, our VPE. Nurina.
Master Robin, for this amazing session. I would like also to congratulate the organizing teams, all speakers, evaluators, and role takers. I'm in total wonderment. So thank you again. And I think that PLTM will definitely reorganize such event. And in spirit of harmony and benevolence, I welcome you all to join in to our endeavor into a Toastmaster Rotary Food Donation Project. So thank you very much, everyone. And I will also like to invite you all for an after party session organized by Christian, as mentioned by TM Robin. But before that, let's toast forward. So here's my glass. Let's raise our glass to Toastmasters. Toast to Toastmasters International. So I now declare this session closed. Thank you.
Thank you, and recording is stopped now.